If someone were to ask me what culture I appreciate the most and low key admire the most, I would say African American culture again and again and again. Especially the whole late 1900s era. Oh my god. The hoop earrings, the hip hop, early 2000s. And a lot of people don't really talk about it or give credit where it's due, but I think African Americans, overall black culture is really the blueprint. A lot of people like to say that African Americans don't have any culture, especially Nigerians. Like, that's a thing a lot of, I'm not saying me, I don't say this, but a lot of like other people say. And I don't see that as true at all. Because if I'm being real, as I've observed this planet in different cultures, I feel like everyone in the US has taken a little bit from black culture. The music, the style, oh my god, the style, the slang, the dances, some of the food, so much. Y'all have like low key copied a lot of shit that African Americans have done. Everyone is low key inspired by African Americans. And yeah, a lot of people are quick to say they have no culture. Yes, I get there are problems within the African American community that need to be solved. But let's be real, when y'all are doing all those little TikTok dances and singing to all the rap songs, the music, the YB, y'all are inspired. Let's just keep it a buck. All these people, y'all know who I'm talking about, saying the N word constantly. Y'all want to be involved so bad. A lot of people, especially here in the US, are low key inspired by African American culture. They just don't say it. The hoop earrings, the dress style, that new TikTok aesthetic, all that shit stems from African American culture. Ignore my eyebrows, but all people want to see is the negative part instead of the positive.
Greetings, everyone, once again. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And in today's episode, I'll be highlighting the reason as to why Black Americans are usually referred to as being the blueprints. This specific claim is laid on the Black Americans' unique history of resistance, where we get to see them laying the foundation for most innovations and things that have shaped the world differently, that is ranging from music, fashion, language, and the social movements. Kindly watch the rest of this episode while I come with my commentaries at the end of it.
Black Americans are the most resilient because we lost everything. We lost our language, our culture, our identity, and was able to put pieces together and create a subculture of basically a synthetic culture based off of we had land values here in America, right? And there's still things that they can never get taken out of us, but we have been reprogrammed 100 times. So even if your grandma, remember, my grandma was the first generation of I want to go to college, I want to get a degree, I want to do this. Whole time, her mom was probably like, and they was that generation before my grandma parents was like, don't they schools ain't talking about nothing. Them schools was built by Rothschilds, and Boulay ran the schools. That's why NAACP, all the black groups. That's why none of that stuff helps us. None of these black communities, because it's first of all, your own people sold you out. The Boulay. Even when you have these conversations like there's a difference between niggas and black men, I was gonna make that video, but it's way deeper than that. Because it's people that's disguised as black men, that's really niggas, and you got niggas that's really stand up brothers. But really we gotta be indigenous. We gotta be if you ain't on that, hey, this ancient America and we've been here. In the Mississippi mountains, we built them. If you ain't on that, then you probably gonna lean more towards the programming. That's the only identity we need to recognize with the mound builders, the Mississippi River. Now we don't have to connect it to Africa no more. Let's just talk about America, bro. Because people be like, oh, the Nile River was really the Mississippi River and Africa was America. That doesn't matter, bro. Africa is Africa, which is a fake name by Afrikaners. So what are we talking about? The tribes there are divided with tribalism. I said that in my last video. So people want to try to tie us back to Africa. Y'all got your own tribalism, sell out colonization that y'all got to worry about. America got colonized too, and they colonized the people. But guess what? We didn't go nowhere. We've been here. We still on the reservations, and they're not in the middle of the desert. You know where they at? Downtown Oklahoma, nigga. Auburn, Washington. What you talk about? South Carolina, Alabama, Florida, downtown Florida. It's not in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours out from where everything's built. No, it's right in the middle, in the heart of the niche, St. Louis. So think about these things, man. Black Americans are the most resilient because we lost everything. When you look at other cultures, they still, oh, I'm Haitian and I'm black and I'm Jamaican or I'm Salvadorian and I'm Guatemalan. They still get to like they got music, the food. Us, it's like we still had a soul food, but everything is like most of us ain't even tied with our South roots. And then our folks is getting older now. And we didn't view that as like we didn't view it as culture. I don't know how to explain it to y'all. Like even though we made a culture, we didn't view it as that. We were just acting and living based off of forgotten history. And as I get older, I realized that a lot of us didn't forget our culture, but a lot of us did. So growing up, I was tying with African identities. My middle name Shabaka because my dad named me that. Because he was the dead prez, the Pan Africanisms, the proud to be black and black man, African Kemet, and we was wearing all the things, the dashikis. That shit died out quick. It was a fad. We know who he is. Money blowing like grass with the mass appeal. We hip hop, we the land, we the dance, we the groove, we the jazz. Like we be geeking. You feel me? Like, and we're losing recipes. But Black Americans are resilient because we always come out and we ain't. Even though a lot of us have failed to the bite, we have been through COINTELPRO. You got redlining. You got, man, that COINTELPRO boule shit is just. You got mass weaponry, mass chemical warfare. Because not only did they drop drugs in the community, but I remember my mom used to tell me like a lot of people like that when they moved to California, because my folks stay in Sacramento and all that. My mom's side they from stay in Sacramento and stuff like that. Like her mom and stuff like that, but they from Mississippi, Alabama, and my grandma and them they still down south, you know. And we could tie it all back, but when she was telling me like, yeah, people they used to have the plants, and the plants would push out these chemicals, and that's where all the black folks live, is right where the chemicals getting pushed out. So we living by these plants, and we getting sick because we getting all type of tumors and diseases, and like they've been doing experiments on the land. But you got to think about it. Back then, it wasn't a big immigration in America. It was only us, bro. They wiped a lot of us out, and they wiped memory, bro. So when we coming back into our power, bro, this is the perfect time to know who you are. I swear to you, bro. It gives you so much power, bro. Peace and power to y'all. Yeet.
Everyone eats off the table that Black Americans built, but nobody wants to say it. Let's be real. The civil rights movement opened immigration doors. Black labor built the economy others walk into. Our culture gets borrowed, repackaged, sold globally. Our protests set legal precedents that others quietly benefit from. But when it's time to stand with us, and I mean really stand with us, many go silent. Or worse, they look down on us and say that we're the problem, just like that Mexican brother who said something about us. We didn't just fight for ourselves. We broke barriers that made this country more open for everybody. Yet somehow, we're always told, stop complaining. Black Americans have always been the foundation, the blueprint. It's not bitterness. It's truth. We just want the same loyalty we've shown to y'all in the world. Follow if you're proud of the fight we've led, but tired of being left alone in it.
You know, I think it should be noted that other countries can't perceive Black American culture because they're living currently in Black American culture. Like, let's just be real. Our influence is strong as fuck. So strong that you even got other cultures that have created genres that directly come from Black America. Almost every other country got a rap genre and an R&B genre. That is Black American. Their styles mimic our styles. Our styles, the way that we dress, the way that we talk, the way that we walk, influence other cultures. Y'all kids are mimicking our kids. Our influence is so strong that people from other countries come all the way to America to be a part of the music industry that we created. Even our spiritual influence is strong. Do you know how many other nationalities that have converted to Christianity that mimic Black churches and mimic Black pastors? Y'all don't recognize the culture because you are literally cosplaying it on a daily basis. The problem is Black culture has become so normalized that y'all think it's something that stemmed from y'all, when in fact, that's all us, baby. That's all us.
You can understand why black people have been demonized so much when you understand that black people are literally the blueprint. The first humans to walk this earth were black. Every other genotype and every other race came after that through genetic mutation. That is not downplaying the beauty of other races, but that is just saying that it is no coincidence that darker skin has been demonized for so long, because there was a fragility in identity with any other race, because the root of all races is blackness.
So this particular prophecy in Isaiah, where it is a forecast of this one that would come at the end of the world of Satan. And he says, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach glad tidings or good tidings unto the meek. I don't want to waste a lot of time, but it's talking about you. It's talking about the black man and the black woman of America who are meek in terms of how we face the onslaught of our enemies. And we are weak in terms of our inability to cast off the yoke of our oppressor. So the glad tidings to the meek is that the end of your oppression has arrived. And the end of your oppressor has arrived. That's good news. And the most beautiful part of this is that the God who is prophesied to come, comes, is present, and chooses a foolish people. Well, that's us. I'm not trying to put us down, but we are definitely rather foolish. It's not your fault. We were made foolish by our enemies. But he said he would choose a people who were once a great people, but are no people at all now. He would take the bottom rail, bring it to the top, make the last the first. And then he says, thou shalt no more be the tail, thou shalt be the head. This is all talking about us. Now, as a black person or a Negro, African American, whatever you want to call yourself, colored boy. Now you have such a poor view of yourself. Though you pray more than others, you go to church more than others, you shout more than others, you believe more deeply than others, yet you don't believe that God would come to you, that he would choose you to bring a revelation to you that he has kept from the wise and the prudent men and the rulers of this world. So because you think like that, it is very difficult for you to see your value in this time. No people in history has ever undergone what we have undergone. We have showed a tremendous ability to bounce back from the worst form of slavery and oppression. Well, this tells us, as the Bible again teaches, that you were not chosen for your righteousness. Because you know we are of the righteous, but we're not acting that way. It says you were chosen in the furnace of affliction, because the furnace was designed for you to purify you and me, and to make us the type of standard by which you would measure value. This is why the Bible talks about his coming would be as a refiner's fire and like fuller's soap, because you are considered like gold that you got to find in the depth of the earth But gold has to be purified of the dross that is on it, that it will shine and become a standard of value. Well, you are that people that are like gold in the sight of God, and the prophets even described you in that language. But like gold that is found has a dross on it that it has to be purified from, that it may become a standard of value. There's a dross that 400 years under our former slave masters and their children has put on us, that a furnace of affliction should purify us from. And this makes it easy to understand why God chose us.
What's so hard about understanding that Black Americans have over 400 years of history and culture?
Black Americans have no culture, yet we're the backbone of this app. Black Americans have no culture, but our global impact is so large and expansive that AAVE is essentially everywhere. I don't know where I come from, but I could trace back 5-6 generations of my family that were all born in the United States of America. My ancestors built a whole country and created new traditions and dishes and ways of life out of necessity. And our creativeness is why we have the biggest global impact of any other group of people in the world. It's really sad to see the lack of empathy and understanding, and instead of having like an open dialogue around these topics, you're just making like a really wrong and ignorant statement about what Black Americans are not. And instead, because you could have had celebration and pride for the Black American people, this is the same person who made the two of their biggest hits by sampling Black American women. But we don't have culture. We don't know what's going on. We don't know where we're from. And it's the same of a Black British female actor, singer, entertainer who stays all up and through booking herself in Black American roles, that has the same mindset of thinking that, oh, those poor Black Americans, they don't know where they're from. Get out then. How about go back across the pond? And it's just ignorance and a lack of like exposure and education, because if they would take 2 seconds to really get to the root of why they think about it this way and why they're unable to have empathy and understanding of our very unique experience, like they just want to continue to project onto us and make it our fault for the things that have happened to us instead of thinking about the oppressor. Make it make sense. I mean, y'all, it's 2023. Like, are we learning anything? Because when I think of the American person, outside of like my indigenous roots, outside of indigenous people to America, like I think of me. I think of all-American person, the all-American girl, the girl next door. I think of myself. Because like I said before, like I know that my mom was born here, and her mom was born here, and her mom was born here, and her mom was born here. I don't really meet too many people that are from here. You know, my grandmother came here from Sicily. My father's father came here from the Ukraine. My great-great-grandmother's from Britain. So the girl next door and the Becky with the blonde hair and the blue eyes, it's not really giving all American. I mean, to come for the people who literally are the backbone of this app that I'm sitting on talking to you today, and honestly, any app that exists, it's blasphemous to say we have no culture. And I suggest that fake ass apology that was given, oh, we're trying to keep ourselves divided. No, you're trying to keep Black Americans divided from the global majority by coming out this angle, the side of your neck, to say some foolishness. It's just disappointing, but not surprising. And then why aren't y'all coming for the Caribbean folk? Caribbean people are in the same boat as we are. They were dropped off at a different stop. Better climate, in my opinion. But it's the same story. It's the same thing. Where's the pride in Black Americans? That's what we need. We need more pride.
Well, if you've watched to this end, before I continue, kindly don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the share button, as this will go a long way in supporting my channel. Well, let's get down to it. For most people, when you talk about Black Americans, the first thing that comes up to our mind is the struggles that this unique group of individuals has undergone over the decades. And in today's episode, I'll be highlighting the reason as to why most Black Americans have been referred to as being blueprints to some of the most influential and cultural shifting ideas that are still having impact across the world to this date. And for most people, when you're looking at it from the white supremacist point of view, we see over the decades that the Black American community has always been demonized, and it has always been made to believe that this group of individuals are actually at the bottom of the hierarchy when it comes to ranking human beings. And this is actually shrouded by the effects of slavery and colonialism that blacks all over the world have also experienced. And in doing so, we're getting to see that over the decades, the goals of the Black Americans and the entire Black community has always been deemed and ensured that they never come into fruition. But actually, this is coming to an end, and you are seeing that the Black are actually experiencing an enlightenment where they are coming to realize their true potential and also talk about the great impact that they've made in various sectors through their cultural innovation that has entirely shifted the narrative worldwide. And in doing so, we are seeing the term as to why most Black Americans are being referred to as being the blueprint, as in they are the first people to come up with these cultural innovations that I'll be shortly covering that have made major impact worldwide. And on the top of the list, we get to see its music. Well, you can't talk about blacks without talking about music. And some of the most popular music genres across the world have their roots to the Black American culture. For instance, we get to see musics like jazz, R&B, rock and roll, and gospels have their origin to the enslaved Africans who usually used to sing these tunes while working in the fields as a way of comforting themselves and enabling themselves to overcome these challenges that they were facing. And in due time, we're getting to see that these basic songs that was being sung by these enslaved Africans form the major ground for these music genres that I've mentioned. And it's not a surprise when you talk about all these music genres, we see it pointing straight to the Black American community and how they invented or laid the foundation for these specific music styles. And another group of music that has also caused or has also had a global dominance is the hip hop music. Hip hop was found in Bronx back in 1970s, and we all know what hip hop has done to the world right now. The Black American community is specifically credited for being the innovators of hip hop music style. And the uniqueness of hip hop music lies specifically on its sampling, DJing, and MCing, and the clever wordplay of words, which shows a unique cultural origin and style that has gone to cause a major impact worldwide. And you're getting to see other music genres coming out of hip hop, for example, the K-pop music, and also the UK drill, and also across the world, the hip hop music has also influenced other cultures and other communities to come out as a way of expressing themselves in a form of resistance and self-preservation. And again, looking at it from another angle, we get to see the another facet of life that has been influenced by the Black American communities, making them the blueprints, and that is fashion. When you talk about fashion, you cannot put out the Black American community. For instance, when looking at the trendy and flashy sneaker culture, which has grown to be a multi-billion-dollar fashion industry, has mostly been influenced by the Black American community. And across the world, you notice that most of the people actually embrace the Black American code of dressing, which has become trendy. And in the 1980s, we get to see the wearing of the baggy clothes, the Timberlands, flashy blings and chains, which have also evolved over time to become a trendy and massive fashion statement, owes its root to the Black American community. And again, some of the fashion innovations that you get to see nowadays also have its roots to the Black American communities. For example, the acrylic fingernails, hearing hoops, the cornrows, all these have become major fashion statements in major fashion worlds right now. And despite of the fact that they were being looked down upon by the elites at some point, with the recent development in time, we're getting to see that these fashion trends have been absorbed and assimilated in major fashion shows like in the runways, and they're becoming some form of a Black American tradition that has found its way to the elites, showing how influential the Black American community is. And again, when we are looking at it from another point, you get to see the impact that also the Black American community has had in languages. And a very good example of this is the African American Vernacular English. Well, this lingo, or commonly known as slang, has had massive impact worldwide. And we're getting to see that despite of the fact that most people usually look at it from a professional point of view as being ghettoish, we get to see that the Black American slang has had major cultural impact worldwide. And we're getting to see that there are some specific words that have been actually generated from this African American vernacular English. A good example is words like slap, cap, and standing on business. These are some of the terms that have actually been accepted worldwide to the specific meaning and origin that it's tied to the Black American community. And despite of the fact that some people actually look down on it, with the current Gen Z lingo and the online trends that are happening, you're getting to see these words becoming more and more popular. And in due time, you're getting to see that it's becoming accepted as part of the most trendy and influential languages right now, as more Gen Zs are relating to it and more people are becoming open to learn about it, killing the old narrative of it being unprofessional. And lastly, you get to see the social movements that have been influenced by the Black American community at last. For a good example is the civil rights movement that happened between the 1950s and the 1960s, where we get to see various Black American leaders came out and mobilized a huge number of Black individuals to fight for their rights in the country. And in this form of protest, we see it as being an unviolent protest, and it usually involved walkouts, sit-ins, massive group marches that were actually non-violent, and even refusing to go to their jobs or works with the aim of paralyzing the government or the system. And we get to see this actually worked. And from these massive social movements, we get to see other countries across the world imitating it. For example, in South Africa, we get to see most Africans using the same strategies that is fighting against apartheid. And this has been adopted by various social right movements across the world, and we're getting to see more and more people coming out to use the same tactic which was originally used by the Black Americans to form protest and demand for their rights. And even currently, we're getting to see the marginalized groups using the same strategies as forms of protest, all thanks to the Black Americans who made this movement possible. And well, there are very other innovations that I couldn't fit in this short video clip that I've prepared. And this again goes to show the massive impact of the Black American community and why they usually refer to themselves as being the blueprints for everything. And as it is commonly said, the Black American culture can only be imitated and not never be duplicated. Well, this marks the end of this episode. Thank you for watching to this end once again, and see you in the next episode.